My name's James Lynch, and tonight I have with me Mario Berton, our resident property strategist and Dollars with Sense panel member. Last time we talked a little bit about monetary fiscal policy and some of the effects that government instruments are having on the property market. Tonight we're going to take an opportunity to have a look at a forecast over the next 5 years. Mario, welcome to the show.
James, thanks for having me again.
Excellent. Good to have you with us, Mario.
Thank you.
Now, there's a little bit of talk, and we've certainly seen it in auction clearance rates,
Yes.
RBA predictions with respect to housing price index over the next 5 years,
Yes.
that the property market's going to cool off a little bit. Okay. Yep. Now we've had a clamp down on credit, slow down on investor lending certainly.
Yep.
What's your expectation with respect to the property market over the next 5 years?
James, that is a fantastic question, and I have a very strong personal opinion on all of this.
Yes.
Right, so hence why I'm here and you've asked me that. I'm not a big believer in the words of cooling off, booms and bubbles and things like that. I'm a big believer is the market corrects itself at various levels. And that's what it's doing right now. We can pinpoint and blame, and we certainly can say the banks. They're not lending, they are lending, or they're saying we're lending money but they're not really lending money. So it's correcting the market itself. The actual buyers themselves saying we're not prepared to pay that money anymore and correcting it that way. The prediction is we are at a steady as she goes moment. It's a cycle we've gone through. Mm-hmm. My biggest observation right now is what I'm looking at is we're coming up to a state election coming up this year and a federal election. And we've got several budgets in the way. That does have a real effect on not whether prices go up or down, it's just the amount you sell and don't sell,
sure,
and list and don't list, okay? So I believe over the next 12 to 24 months, it's steady as she goes. Okay. Yes, you've got political influences, you've got economic influences, you've got demographic influences that will counter themselves. I've been in this industry now, James, over 30 years.
Sure.
And we've seen cycles. And early in my career, I could actually pinpoint, okay, cycle one, it goes around, that's now gone out the window. My biggest my biggest gauge is the general public.
Okay, so public sentiment, is it?
Public sentiment.
Yeah, right, okay.
Right. And I call it, you walk amongst the troops and you talk to the troops and they'll tell you what's really going on, okay? The big boys up the top, they speculate and it's their job. Right, they've got to lead.
Yeah, of course. Right,
but the troops on the ground, when your agent goes out there and knocks on the door and says, "Hey, I'm here to sell your home," or you've invited him in to do an appraisal, the people will tell you. The purchasers say, "This is where I'm at. I'm struggling with my job here, or I've got my job secured here. My casual is now permanent, and I can now afford a loan because that's what the bank wants."
Yeah, right. Okay.
Right? So it's that level where if you call that into micro analysing, that's how deep I want to go.
Yeah, look, it's funny you mentioned that, and you and I actually both lecture part-time at night time.
Absolutely.
And I had a student come to me and there was a paper which he presented to me, and it just identifying that past performance really is no indication of future performance. And the way the markets have changed, and we talk about things such as the property clock and the market cycle and so on and so forth.
Correct.
And they don't really resonate as true and as effective as perhaps they used to be.
Correct.
Another question I'd like to ask you, and this is something with respect to the transfer of wealth.
Sure.
Okay, so we've got Generation Y coming through now, and we're going to see one of the biggest transfers of wealth in history, and we're talking billions and billions and billions of dollars.
You mean Mum and Dad hasn't spent it on them yet?
Well, yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned that actually, because and another thing I've been talking about is spending it at retirement and so forth. Over in America now, did you know that 46% of recreational vehicle purchases are now by Generation Y? So wow. Yeah, that's almost half. So it's not necessarily people retiring, getting a caravan and travelling around. It's actually young people as well, sort of getting into that. So. Yes. Is that sentiment with respect to investment going to change? I mean, there's going to be a huge transfer of wealth into these people. They're going to start, 25s, getting into their 30s, 35s. Yes. That home purchasing, starting to invest for the future, so on and so forth. What sort of effect is that going to have, particularly here in Australia, on our real estate market?
It's going to take a while before it affects our real estate market.
Okay.
Right? What we've got to do, and again, it's my opinion, the 25s and 30 and 35-year-olds who are not in the market, trying to get into the market, their mentality has to change. And us professionals have to stop talking, and the media especially, and I've got to be careful how I say this, but you know me, I'll just say it straight.
Well, we are,
okay?
we are the media here, Mario.
Okay. We've got to stop saying you can't afford it anymore, because you can.
Yes.
If you desperately want, you can. The people today, and our generation, and I love what Australia is about, we live for today, but we also plan for tomorrow.
Right, okay.
Okay. So your Gen Y, they want to have a home, but they also want to have their fun stuff too.
Yeah.
What the balance is, we have to teach them, and we're finding where we're going to find is that the balance will be have some fun, but have security.
Yeah.
Okay. The passive income, and a lot of people don't understand what passive income is, but that Gen Y, with all the inheritance that's coming through, they're starting to understand. Okay, I've got this. If I put it there, it's a passive income coming in. I can enjoy myself, but still look after my family.
Yeah, right.
That's where I believe over the next decade and a half, we'll be heading towards.
Okay, and I suppose with respect to housing prices, and
yes.
Let's use Melbourne and capital cities as an example.
Yes.
With this transfer of wealth, and certainly from the baby boomers coming through,
Yep.
I imagine there's going to be a lot of downsizing.
Yes.
And they'll be liquidating their assets.
Yes.
And quite possibly dumping these properties onto the market. Now, this increased supply of established properties, is that going to drive prices down, or are we going to see enough demand for those to maintain their value? And that might be, through immigration. I mean, I think last time you mentioned, was it 10,000 a month?
Correct. Correct. Plus or minus a little bit.
Yeah, plus or minus,
yes.
moving into Victoria.
That's a fantastic question you asked, right? Are they going to dump? Well, I don't think there's anything to dump. Because of the migration we've got coming in, prices, if you say to me, will they stabilise and maintain a level? Absolutely.
Okay, right.
However, let's look at Gen Y, baby boomers before them, and future 0000 babies, whatever you like to call them, okay? In my entire career to date, prices haven't dropped.
Right.
They have their little, if you look at their graphs over the last 30 years, there's that. But when you look at the downside, it's actually higher than where it was a peak over here.
Right.
So, people say prices have dropped. No, they haven't. They've corrected, right? I was at a class just recently, and we spoke, and there's only one or two suburbs in every state of Australia, and in Melbourne especially, that have never ever dropped.
Okay, there you
Ever.
go. Right.
And I'm not going to bring it out here because it's not necessary, okay? However, there was a person in my class went, it's there, straight off.
Yeah, right.
All right. So the prices, to answer your question, is there's always a steady increase. You'll have, as a graph, you're going to have that rule straight up,
yeah, of course.
And then they'll stabilise again. And straight up, and then they'll stabilise. Prices never drop.
Right, okay.
This is why tangibility, property is always the safest investment, as long as you're smart about it.
Okay, so over the next 5 years, then it'd be fair to say that look, it may stabilise,
yes.
And look, certainly not going to go down.
Yeah, look, you're not going to get your 20% increases and all that sort of stuff.
Sure.
Well, if you're getting 1.5% to 2% a year, and people go, that's not enough on my return. Well,
if you've leveraged 500 grand, it's not bad, is it?
Okay, and it's compounding.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not even. Oh yeah, no, it's. And at the end of the day, you look at your property as a long-term investment. People who buy blue chip shares, they don't buy blue chip shares because they want to make money tomorrow. It's right. A 40 or 45 or 50-year plan.
Yeah, of course.
For their grandchildren and so forth. And today, where we're living and the way technology is, we might be living, to 130 and 140, and we can take advantage, and the kids miss out.
Well, I hope so. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for that, Mario.
James, it's been a pleasure talking to you today.
Well, there you have it, Mario Berton, our resident property strategist and Dollars with Cents panel member. Certainly with the property markets, past performance is no indication of future performance, but it's always been a pretty solid investment strategy. Certainly, we expect to see stabilisation, perhaps a correction over the next few years, but in the long term, certainly appreciation. If you'd like more information on what you've seen tonight, visit dollarswithcents.com.au, send us an email, become a member, and we'll get in contact with you.
Do you have a home loan? If so, when was the last time you checked it? We know that banks are run by people, and we also know people aren't perfect. A small mistake can cost you many years and tens of thousands of dollars. That's where the Home Loan Manager Pro is here to help you. It'll check and find that mistake and could save you many years and many tens of thousands of dollars. Go on to dollarswithcents.com.au and become a member of Dollars with Cents. Now we know that the Home Loan Manager Pro isn't for free, but via our sponsors, we're going to save you $175. It's a gift from Dollars with Sense and our kind sponsors. This is Dollars with Sense, helping the community. Remember, dollarswithsense.com.au.